during a karaoke night at Russell Station, I sang On the Road Again by Willie Nelson, then Yellow by Coldplay, then Toes by Zac Brown, then Oobla Dee Oobla Da by the Beatles, then Suddenly Seymour by Ashman Howard. Up to that point, it had been a while since I had done that one. And then finally I sang The Candyman by Sammy Davis Jr. If I recall, we got there sometime between 6 and 6:30 p.m. And I think the karaoke started at 7 p.m. and ended at 10 p.m. So I think there were a considerable number of people at Russell Station, but not that many singers. I initially planned to get a station number 7 plate. What a garbage plate is called at Russell Station. But I ended up getting an order of Bolivian pretzel sticks as an appetizer, and ended up skipping the main so as not to eat too much and make myself too tired to work on the current polystyrene drawing project, which is Beaker from The Muppet Show. At this point, I've got most of his head done. I did his facial features and most of the detail of the front of his lab coat, shirt, plaid shirt, and tie. In the hours before we went to Russell Station, including during a roughly half-hour period of time between us getting back from a Wegmans shopping trip in which our primary goal was to get a new gallon of milk. For me, a new gallon of whole milk, and for Mom, a new gallon of 1%. As soon as we got back, we didn't really have room for the old gallon of 1%, so Mom and I split what was left in plastic cups. 2 plastic cups. Mom got a thing of extra gum. Polar ice. At that section, they have right at checkout that's filled with candy and stuff similar to it. Two cans of original SpaghettiOs, because during that brief shopping trip we happened to pass by the aisle with them. We got this salad and a large chef salad, and that's all of the groceries we got during that trip to Wegmans. In the coming days, my dad's going to pick me up from Mom's place again. In the morning and afternoon, I had some more of the gingerbread barn. I had most of the silo around noon. The very early afternoon. After I had what ended up being a couple of over easy eggs and what was left of the small salad shrimp at that point. I used what was left of my milk at the time and dipped that big silo piece in it. Frosting and all. Around 7:30 p.m. was when I had the order of Bolivian pretzel sticks. I got it as an appetizer when Johnny ordered if I recall, some quesadillas, some tacos, and I think it came with some nachos, either the quesadillas or the nachos, but I'm not 100% sure. He shared a taco and some of the nachos with me after he was done eating, which was nice of him. Mom shared some of her fried mushrooms, which was nice of her. Typically not much of a mushroom fan, especially if they're wet, because it creates an uncomfortable texture in my mouth usually, but in this case the texture wasn't too bad because the breading kind of shielded me a bit from it. It was at Russell Station that I essentially finished the details for the front of the lab coat for the Beaker polystyrene drawing project, and colored in the front and sides of his face. I couldn't get Beaker's proportions exactly right, due to the inherent shape of the polystyrene block I ended up using for him, and I got one of his eyes a noticeably smaller size than the other. Because I freehanded them, as I typically do for these projects. And in the way I did the eyes, I just used a Sharpie marker to essentially designate two circles that would be left blank with no marker in order to designate the color white, because the kind of polystyrene I use starts off white. It's been that case every single time except for one, in which I used a piece of polystyrene that started off as a light green. But otherwise, the pieces of polystyrene I've used have always been white. That way it's like a blank canvas. In a sort of sense. Early on into our visit, our stay for karaoke night at Russell Station, one of Mom's friends got a gift for Mom and me. more meant for Mom than for me. Two glass bottles of Coca-Cola with heart stickers on them, so the glass bottles could be kept. Two sort of fortune cookies. One for Mom, one for me. Mine said Happy Valentine's Day. Though they weren't the edible kind of fortune cookie. They were kind of more made out of craft foam rather than what a fortune cookie is typically made out of which I'm not really aware. And there was also a card, which may or may not have been read at this point, but either way, I'm sure it had a great message. And it's just coincidental that my fortune cookie said Happy Valentine's Day. The whole gift isn't meant to be an early Valentine's Day present. It's meant to be a gift to show solidarity with Mom and by extension, me. The only alcoholic beverages I had was essentially a mule with ginger beer and vodka. And towards the very end, I had that mule around 7:30 p.m. around the same time I had the Bolivian pretzel sticks. And then towards the very end, around 10 p.m., I finished off what was left of a pitcher of beer. Blue Light, because they ran out of Bud Light. Blue Light was okay, though Mom's friend, the one who got it for herself, Mom, and Johnny, said that It was terrible beer. Didn't taste terrible to me. Just seemed okay. Maybe it's terrible compared to other brands of beer. I think I'm generally into darker beers and darker roasts of coffee. Though I think I have coffee a lot more than beer.